Bassoradio Flown bäkkärillä ja Herkules tässä Flow-hetkestä. Vähän kädet hikoilee ja saanut viereen iso rap-artisti Jenkeistä. Welcome to the interview, Black.
How you doing?
So you've been in Helsinki and in Finland how many hours right now?
I landed maybe I feel like 10 o'clock.
I know that you have some struggles before your first album, Free Black, and you had some issues with your label before that, and then you got your album out. And how did it feel that you got recognition with your own sound and your own style?
I mean, it was rewarding, but a moment like that wasn't really anything to prove to my old label. It was just more so like I knew what I was capable of doing, and it's like a slight "I told you so," just like I kind of knew that.
That must feel good.
Yeah, definitely.
How does your home area and your city where you're from affect your music and art?
I think being from Atlanta and being around the culture, you grow up and you just want to be a part of it because everybody's involved in some kind of way. It's not like a thing where it's unattainable or it's far or it's out of reach. It's like everywhere you go is somebody who's doing something music related. So Atlanta has always influenced a big part of who I am and what I do musically, because everywhere I went it was just always some kind of music scene. It was always some kind of concert, some kind of gathering, some kind of show. It was just always something.
What are the DJs and artists you look up to when you were younger in Atlanta?
I mean, I always have had a knack for everything and nobody specifically. That's just kind of the person I am. I never really had favorites. It was just I like all of this, so I'm gonna listen to that, listen to this, listen to that, but more so all of my inspiration, and not to sound invested in me, too invested in me, but all of my inspiration came from just being in my own space and having my own time to work on my own thing.
Have you produced yourself as well when you were younger, or you always work with other people?
Nope, that was the one thing that I told myself that I wouldn't get into yet. It was I do everything else by myself, so the one thing I'll leave to someone else is how to put the music together, because I do like other people's opinions, I do like other people's suggestions. I didn't want to get to a point where I was I can do everything by myself and block out any external ideas, otherwise I wouldn't have made Free Black.
And how do you stay real to yourself and to your art and don't grow too big or too fast?
I mean, just remembering who I am. It's not really that complicated or difficult to remember. I think everything that happens on a day-to-day in my life reminds me of who I am, whether it be being away from home or not really knowing what home is because I'm traveling so much, or having to figure out responsibilities as far as music and money and all these things go. Every time I have to think about the realities of my life, those are things that keep me grounded.
Do you have some moments which have slapped you back to reality, or showed you that you went too far or something like that?
Nope. Maybe if I was out here buying cars and chains and shit, then it will be a moment where I was kind of knocked back down to reality. But I kind of keep things very low scale, just chill.
You have a track out OTV with Khalid and Ty Dolla $ign, and you work with Timbaland, legendary producer. How does that feel? Is that normal for you, or are you getting extra energy from that?
As far as my collaborations go, those are as normal as it gets for me, because I don't really source or look for collaborations. I meet people and there's a connection and then we make music, versus I want to work with them, or can you get me in with this guy? So I meet people, we become friends, and then we make music. So
you don't get sent feat requests, or you don't send lyrics?
Yeah, definitely. But things like those are very scarce because I like to know people I work with. The only time something kind of slips through the cracks is if the check is right and the music is right.
Right. And you also work with Finnish producers, MCN and MDS, and Aleksi Asiala. How did that happen?
My guy Sengat, that's my producer, my in-house guy, and what he's always been good at is looking outwards, not just making things for me, but looking and searching for other things and then bringing them to me. So he brought these guys to me and brought their music to me, and from that we made music.
And how about your future? Like you said, you have album time coming now. Apart from album time, what do you see as an artist? What do you want to accomplish? Let's say visually or video wise or show wise. Do you have some ambitions in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think every show that we ever do is a show where we kind of get off stage immediately and we're trying to figure out what we can do better for next time, you know. I have been doing like this experiment where I just go up there and I figure things out while I'm on stage. I've done like the prepared set a lot of times and it's perfectly fine with me. But for like these festivals and like the last tour that I just got off of supporting someone, I would go on stage, I would kind of scope the crowd out, and as I'm performing, I'm like talking to my DJ, I'm like, switch this, change that, do this, do that song, cut that song. And it's like all, you know, live, so we're just like figuring things out as we go, just to figure out people and what they respond to and what I need to do as far as like projection of my voice or mellowing out for a second. Like, it's always something different.
And how about like during your shows, let's say in the past 6 months, do you have some memorable moments or something special happened?
Most memorable will probably be Coachella, second weekend. Just because I always wanted to do Coachella. First weekend, I hated my performance just because everything that could have went wrong to me went wrong. The crowd didn't really know, but in my ears, I was just dealing with like a bunch. But second weekend was the best. Everything I was supposed to do, I did it. Beyonce and Jay-Z were waiting, you know, after I got off stage, and it doesn't get really more memorable than that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Outside of like hip hop culture and music, do you have some other references you like to like check, like country music or disco music or something like that?
I had like and this was before everything kind of centered around me and like what I was doing. I had a time where I was just on YouTube figuring out. I had an obsession with just UK singers and vocalists, so I was, you know, trying to figure out who Florence was and Ellie Goulding, and like before like all the big singles and things, I would just watch YouTube videos and like strip down performances. And yeah, I kind of feel like I'm always outsourcing something. It's like every few months or every like year, I just move to something new to pull from. So yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.